Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I've no doubt you Newcastle fans enjoyed Isak's last minute goal against Fulham yesterday. A huge 3 points, a really big win. I'm sure you also enjoyed Mitro scuffing that penalty as well. I know I always liked Mitro. I still like Mitro. I like him just a little bit more now. So thank you for the help there, mate. A big win. Look, it was possibly not the best game we've ever played. It wasn't to say that we were bad. We had all the ball. We had all the shots. We were definitely the team that was on top for the majority of that game. It just felt like it didn't quite have that little edge to the game. Not too many clear-cut chances. It maybe just lacked a little bit of energy. But sometimes, when you don't play your best and then you get the win, it can be just as satisfying. And look, I thought the crowd was a little bit quieter yesterday than it was against Leicester on Tuesday. In fairness, I think it's always going to be tough to compete with that game against Leicester on Tuesday. I reckon we could try and match it against Southampton in the upcoming semi-final. But wow, that Leicester game, the flags, the scarves, it was a good week for Newcastle. And look, a little bit of information coming out and reported by The Telegraph, which we are going to talk a little bit about today, is that in fact, at that Leicester game, there were some Adidas representatives at St James's Park at the game, and it's reported they were there for discussions around the possible future sponsorship of Newcastle United. Now, I have worn my Adidas top on purpose. I mean, the brown ale, I think that's probably going to be a bit too far for the Saudi owners. But I think Adidas is one that everyone is very hopeful to see back. Now, actually, I've spoken to a few fans who are keen on maybe seeing a Nike. I think because I'm just full of nostalgia. I'm just one of those people, and I just feel like I've got so many tops in that cupboard over there with Adidas on. How great would it be to bring that back to Newcastle? I mean, the main thing really, and look, people like Silverstone, who we've brought in to help boost the commercial of the club. You look at Adidas, Nike. You look at the big dogs of the commercial sponsorship world. They are the ones that are going to pay the big money. So although there's other ones out there that maybe people could have an interest in, I think it's going to be one of the big ones. And then because we've got that little bit of history, I think that's why Adidas is one that quite a lot of people are keen now. Now, the thing is with the sponsorships. Now, we talk about the brown ale, we talk about Fun 88. Now, the good news is, or the reported good news is, that we've basically agreed that this is the last year of Fun 88. Now, how long that deal was due to last exactly, I think it was meant to be 2 more years, but we've managed to get them on to finish it this summer. The owners have come in, they've agreed a payment. This will be your last year. In fairness, I don't think Fun 88 were in a great position because of the fact the Premier League themselves are also pushing to remove gambling websites for shirt sponsors. So even if Fun 88 had turned around and gone, no, we want to stay, we want to be on the front of it, and this is what I'll come on to with Castore in a moment. No, we want to be on the front of a shirt of a team that is first of all doing very, very well in the Premier League, very, very well in the League Cup, and next year could potentially have European football. But if they'd held out and then the Premier League turned around and went, well, actually, it's cancelled, I think they were in a position to take that payment from Newcastle to get out of the way. Now, it's great to hear that Adidas representatives have been spotted at Newcastle, and I have no doubt, as I've mentioned already, Peter Silverstone, Darren Eales, in fairness, has worked with Adidas previously when he was over at Atlanta. So, look, there's a little bit of rapport there, hopefully, between the two of them, which would also help with this. The trouble is Castore. Now, the issue with Castore is that it's understood that the deal we've got with them still has a little while left. I don't think it's a one like Fun 88 that would have still ended in about a year or so's time. It's actually understood that we do have a relatively long-term deal with them. And look, Castore has been poor. First of all, it's not the big brand. You want the big brand. And it's the style of shirt as well. And don't get me wrong, if we got Adidas back, I don't think they're going to suddenly turn around and start making, the thicker material, kind of more like... I feel like if I wore this out, it would look alright. I feel like if I wore a skin-tight Adidas top like the players are wearing these days, it's not quite the same, but still, some of the Adidas shirts that are created at the moment for other teams are some of the nicest that are out there. For me, Castore isn't that. To add to that, I think the complaints of quality and customer service from Castore have been so bad. I mean, we were on our training getaway with Newcastle, and they're standing there in it's peeling off. It's peeling off. You've got people who are ordering shirts that don't get the sponsor on, which in fairness, I think some people have actually been happy about to get away with those. Then you've also got the issues with other clubs. People are receiving Wolves tops and Rangers tops. I've seen Wolves tops with the badge upside down. So look, I do not think Castore are not exactly painting themselves in glory with what they've done for Newcastle so far. So I do generally think that the poorness of Castore, I think the reaction from the fans generally, and one thing we've found with Amanda and the new owners is they are listening to what fans have to say, and I really don't think it would take them 30 seconds to realise that people want Castore out and want a new one in. So the fans want it, the club will want it because they'll want to move on to a higher status, higher paying sponsorship. So back to what I said at the start, regardless of whether we want it, and if they have been spotted in St James's Park, according to the Telegraph, I'm sure I've read it on a couple of other little articles as well, but the main one was the Telegraph reporting this. The trouble is that Castore, I think, how much do you need to pay for them to move on? Because as I said, with Fun 88, I think the way the Premier League's going and the fact that they want to remove betting, they would kind of get ushered out anyway. Castore themselves, it's understood that Newcastle, we're only a few years into what is thought to be a long-term deal. I suppose everyone's got their price, and we have the money to do it, and what you could also do in these discussions is speak to Adidas and say, by the way, this is how much we'll have to pay to get Castore out. If you're going to give us this, then you're just like adding towards that. But if Adidas are only willing to pay so much, we've already got to pay that to get Castore out. It's like, where does the metric actually fit that it's worth us paying that out? And I think the trouble, I think the trouble is that Castore, like probably Fun 88, will want to stick around. What's worth Castore in more value? A big payout for them to go away, or the fact that their shirt is being worn by a side that are playing amazingly right now in multiple competitions and potentially could go to Europe. That's the thing, and that's going to be the issue for us. Isn't how much money do they want, because everyone's got a price. It's more for them that they would be effectively tearing up a deal which is going to possibly give them the most like brand sponsorship than probably most of the clubs that they set up with. And that's going to be a real challenge for us. Now, as I've mentioned already, I think you talk about the owners and where they want the club to go and the hope to potentially take Europe. I think sponsorship is a big thing as well. It's like branding of yourselves and being associated with the big names and the big numbers. It's no doubt something that we want to look into. And yeah, I've kind of gone a little bit up and down in this video, but the positive is that Adidas were reportedly in the building earlier this week, and I would love to see Adidas come back as a sponsorship. If I had to pick one, and I've mentioned it already, I know I've said Nike and a few others, yeah, Adidas is the one for me. Get me some of those nice looking shirts, bring back a little bit of old school to, the strips and the colours, and just, I think Adidas are a little bit more unique with what they're doing. I feel like Castore is kind of like, it's probably why the badges are peeling off. Just like a mass-produced here, there, and everywhere. I would love to get a bit of individuality back to Newcastle United again. And as I've said, Very exciting to hear that they were in fact at St James's Park on Tuesday, and of all the games to go to as well, the one against Leicester with the fantastic atmosphere is certainly a good one to pick. Fingers crossed those talks went well. As I've mentioned already, Darren Neal's got a little bit of past history with them as well. He now actually spoke in his interview not too long ago about how he wants to improve the relationship with Castore. I mean, he actually worded it in his interview that that's who we are contractually sponsored by. That's who we are working with at the minute. Now, I did feel a little bit of something in his voice there, as if to be like, this is where we are at the moment, so that's what we're going to deal with. The hope is, if we are having these chats at a game like the Leicester, is that we can start to try and pull together an idea of where we can go next. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on the fact that Adidas have reportedly been to St James's Park. Representatives were there at the Leicester game. What was discussed there? Well, I doubt we'll know, unless it's revealed further down the line when we hopefully announce the changing of sponsor. I think it's a very exciting thing to hear that we are taking steps in that direction. I mean, things are going pretty good on the pitch. There's some great news off the pitch at the moment as well. Having said that, it is halfway through January and we're still waiting for some news on a transfer, but who knows, maybe could Adidas be the transfer in? I think it's probably a bit soon. I think that at the earliest it would be next season. It will not be mid. And to get rid of Castore in that fashion that quickly would be tough as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. If you could move on to a new sponsor away from Castore, would it be Adidas? Would it be in another one? Do you think I'm barking up the right tree or the wrong tree in terms of would Castore take that big payment, or will they dig their heels and stick around regardless? And I don't think it'll be on the greatest of deal. It was Mike Ashley doing a huge long-term deal. Let me know your thoughts down below. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch you later.